how to increase your credit limit and whether you should. Getting a higher credit limit is always a good event in your financial life. It provides you with more borrowing power and a flexible source of funds. If you have a rewards credit card, a higher credit line also gives you an opportunity to earn more cashback or points. Plus, it can be beneficial to your credit score. Sometimes you may receive an increased credit limit automatically, and other times you might need to contact your bank to request it. This episode looks at what you can do to increase your limit and, more importantly, whether or not you should increase your credit limit. Plus, one trivia question about credit cards. Today's trivia question is, who introduced credit cards and in what year? We've also included the timestamps in the description below if you want to revisit any particular section of the video. Before we go too far, let's quickly explain what a credit limit is. A credit limit is the maximum amount you borrow against each line of credit. If you have a credit card with a limit of $3,000, you can't spend more than $3,000 on that credit card. Each card in your wallet has a credit limit. Some cards have limits of as much as $100,000, but those are rare and usually found in the wallets of the super rich. The average credit limit varies a lot depending on your credit score. If you have a bad score, you'll be lucky to get $2,000. A good credit score will reward you with an average limit of around $7,000. Those with the best credit scores are treated to average limit of around $11,000. So does credit limit work? To know how credit limits work, you've got to first understand billing cycles. This is the amount of time between monthly bills being due. By federal law, due dates must be the same date every month. During your billing cycle, you're allowed to charge any sum up to your credit limit. So let's say that you did use your credit card to pay for $100 worth of items during a billing cycle. When the cycle ends, the issuer will send you a statement outlining where you used the card, how much you spent on each item, the total of what you spent, called the balance, and how much you're expected to pay as a minimum payment to keep the account in good standing. If you were to send the issuer the entire balance of $100, you would not be charged any interest because you would have satisfied the debt within the fee-free grace period, which is your billing cycle. As soon as your payment is posted, your credit line bounces back to the full amount you're allowed to borrow. Now, can credit limits affect your credit scores? Lenders will normally consider your credit utilization rate, or the amount of money that you owe compared to the total amount of credit you have access to. A low credit utilization score is an indication that you're able to use your credit responsibly and sends a signal to prospective lenders that you might be a good candidate for their credit products if you meet other criteria. Experts generally agree that you should keep your credit utilization rate below 30% whenever possible. So, how do you know what your credit utilization rate is? To calculate it, divide the total amount of your credit card balances by your total credit card limit. If your credit utilization is above 30%, you may find that increasing your credit limit can give your credit scores a boost. Because if you increase your credit limit but keep your credit card usage the same, your credit utilization rate will go down. This is a good way to try to improve your credit if you're regularly holding large balances on your cards. If you're still unsure how a credit limit increase can affect your credit score, make sure you hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for our future episode covering that topic in detail. It's now time to explain how to increase your credit card limit. There are two methods to increasing your credit card limit. We'll explain both shortly. Method 1. Wait for automatic credit card limit increases. Many credit card companies increase your credit limit automatically without you having to lift a finger. If you demonstrate that you're a responsible credit card user and use the card enough to warrant a credit limit increase, you could get a higher credit line as frequently as every 6 or 12 months. You can increase your odds of getting an automatic credit limit increase by building a positive payment history, never making late payments, and never causing payments to be returned. Using the card frequently, which generates swipe fees for the bank. If you don't use the card often, you likely won't be offered a credit limit increase. Luckily, automatic increases won't generate a hard inquiry on your credit report, as you must agree to those beforehand. Method 2. Request a credit limit increase. You can contact your credit card issuer directly to request a higher credit line. Requesting a credit limit increase varies from bank to bank. Some banks include a request link in your online account. Others would require you to call their customer service to initiate a request. Before you contact your card issuer, however, note that a credit card limit increase request often results in a hard inquiry on your credit report. After all, the issuer is considering you for a larger line of credit. So the process is similar to applying for a credit card. Although a hard inquiry might lower your credit score slightly, though not always, any negative effect is often outweighed in the long run by the benefits of a higher credit limit. Also, hard inquiries will only affect your credit scores for 1 year. After 2 years, the hard inquiries will disappear from your credit reports too. When you submit a request for a credit limit increase, your card issuer might ask for your annual income or monthly housing payment. It can use that information to help evaluate your risk as a borrower. Then, your issuer will make one of 3 decisions: agree to your credit limit increase request, counter-offer with a credit limit increase for a lesser amount, deny your request for a credit limit increase. In the case of a denial, you'll usually have to wait a while before trying again. In the meantime, make sure you keep your payment history spotless and continue to use the card often and responsibly. If you really want to improve your credit utilization ratio, you can also try applying for a new card. How to know the limit of my credit card? There are various ways to know your credit limit. Either you contact your credit provider or you check your credit report. You can contact your bank by mail or phone call to request a credit limit increase or decrease. When to consider increasing your credit limit? If you use your credit card to pay for work-related expenses before claiming them back and your expenses suddenly grew, then it might be a good idea to increase your credit limit to avoid a cash flow problem. If you regularly pay your credit card bill in full each month and have a solid income stream, the bank or card provider might agree to the increase if it's not too much. Is there any charge if I exceed my credit limit? Following government reforms, there is no charge for exceeding your credit limit for any card activated after July 2012. For cards activated before this time, you can still be charged a small fee. Commonwealth Bank, for example, charges an initial $10 over the limit fee for the first time you exceed your credit limit in a statement period. The biggest penalty you'll face now for going over your credit limit is having future transactions declined until you pay down your debt below the limit again. Increasing your credit limit. Is it a bad idea? Even if you're not at risk of taking on too much debt, increasing your credit limit might not be the best thing to do. It will increase the temptation to take on more debt than you otherwise would. It can also stop you qualifying for other, more important lending like a mortgage. That's because lenders often look at the amount of credit you have access to when they're deciding whether or not to lend to you. Even if your credit card isn't up to its limit, simply having a high credit limit might put other lenders off. So back to today's trivia question. Who introduced credit cards and in what year? The first credit card was introduced by a Brooklyn banker named John Biggins. He invented the model of our modern day credit cards in 1946. That's it for this episode. Please give us your feedback in the comment section below. To watch more episodes of financial topics like this, hit that like and subscribe button. If you want to support us even more, buy us a coffee from the link in the description. Good luck and see you in the next episode.